Welcome, faithful followers of the Green and White. This is Joe Hickey, the voice of DVC Vikings Live, and you're watching Coach's Corner, a new feature here on DVCVikings.com. Each week, one of our sports and recreation management student interns will sit down and pick the brains of a Vikings coach. And for our first installment, we've got Anthony Perry chatting with the man in charge of DVC softball, second-year head coach Brandon Bailey. Take it away, Perry.
Thanks for coming on Coach's Corner, man. I really appreciate it. So, just gonna talk about softball, kind of talk about how the season's been going, some things that have stood out, and really what you're looking forward to down the road. You guys started the season 0-2, but since then you guys have won 4 in a row, and they've been in pretty impressive fashion, I would say. What do you feel has been really the focal point of the team's success so far?
I honestly just think it's just getting out there and getting the experience of playing other teams instead of each other, kind of getting the butterflies out. That first series we played, we wanted to play the best team in the area. So, and last year we had a bit of a success. So we wanted to kind of get them that experience right away of high competitive softball so that, as we move along in our shortened season, they'll get more comfortable and just play their game that they've been practicing on for the last year. So
prior to your guys' first and second games, were you guys just scrimmaging a lot? Was that kind of the difference?
Yeah, we did inter squads against one another or each other twice a week to prepare. While practicing. That's all we really had to get ready, for our opponent.
Obviously, it's tough without there being playoffs because of COVID-19, but with that in mind, how have you instilled really good energy amongst the team and the entire culture, even without there being playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, it really started back in the fall when we pretty much kind of had a pretty good idea that, we were going to have some kind of simulated season, but kind of our goal was to, regardless of what happens, whether we're practicing or playing or whatever we're going to do, we're still going to go at it as if we're going to compete, preparing to compete in January and February, no matter what happens. So we kind of took those, our inter squads and our practices, kind of high level of, competitiveness each time and tried to push. I mean, it wasn't easy, practicing for a year with no games. So, but they're really strong-minded individuals and they really buy in, they want to play and they enjoy the game. So it kind of made it easier having players with that mindset.
How's the culture of the team been? Is the energy still being reflected strongly? Does it still feel like everyone's really bought into the whole thing?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the number one thing with this program is it's about building chemistry and that culture of togetherness and kind of picking up on each other, kind of backing each other up. So, as far as the team aspect, I mean, they're all pretty selfless at this point. And when you're in a season and in this type of game, that's what you want. There's no issues. Everyone's willing to go in and do what they need to do, step in for the other person. So, I mean, that's what I look for as far as like chemistry and kind of like the culture is if like they're all gelled together and there's no issues. It's just, we're out here trying to compete as a team, however we can to win. So that's pretty much what's happening.
What's it been like to win 4 in a row so far? I mean, playoffs or not, I still think that's pretty significant to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, 4 in a row, it feels good. I mean, it's definitely a good start. I mean, I kind of expected to come out and win some games this season with the type of players that we have and that we brought in. So we have a bunch of sophomores that are experienced. So that second year is a huge jump for, as I find, for sophomores getting that experience the first year and coming the second year and having so many, it definitely helps the freshmen progress a lot faster, and giving them that experience and that insight on what to expect, this season. So, it feels good, knowing that practicing for a year is paying off. And I know that, they enjoy it. They're like, wow, this really is happening. And this is, what coach is saying, this is all coming to fruition now that we put all this work in and we're here while no one else is allowed to be out there, a lot of these teams. So, we definitely have a leg up because we've been out there for a while. So, we're just thankful that we were able to.
Has all that practice really helped you understand what you want out of your team, or do you feel that it's really free flowing and just letting them play in softball, whatever happens, happens?
No, I mean, in the beginning, definitely it's free flowing because we didn't know what was going on. So we worked on everything, and definitely having that extra time to work on everything definitely helped me hone in on, what we had and what our strengths and weaknesses are. So now that we knew we were playing, then we started to hone in on things to elevate that game and the strategy and all that stuff. So it's always softball is always strategy. So from week to week, we're always adjusting based off how we performed on our previous opponent. So it allows us to be more prepared and just focus on the more detailed things now that we've had so much time to kind of prepare on everything else for so long.
And when you've had that time to prepare, does that give you even more time to figure out the things you need to work on as a team?
I mean, the time without games didn't really give us, I mean, we do inter squads, but it didn't give us a ton of feedback. Like you said earlier, nothing like live games. So
Mhm.
definitely after our first series, we had with San Mateo, we had a lot to work on. We definitely you hit the video as far as on our swings and everything, and started critiquing and changing and improving. Because I think that game failing in the game for the player is a kind of a wake up call. They're like, okay, this is actually happening. So, this is what we have on video. Coach is saying this, so let's start working on it and actually adjusting to this, this type of play that we're experiencing now. So, and it's great because to build a high level player, you want to compete against the highest level that you can, and then kind of make corrections based off of that, not off weaker teams and stuff. So it's definitely now is our time that we're adjusting and we're changing things and making them better week to week.
When I talked to Maddie, I think about a month or so ago, I could tell she was a little upset that COVID had to play out for her season. She had a lot of high hopes for herself. And that's not to say that she still can't reflect that on the field, because quite frankly, she's been reflecting that on the field.
Yeah.
Her and Kama have combined for 14 of 38, 10 RBIs. How do you feel those two have really contributed to the way the team's been successful so far?
Well, Maddie's always been one of our leaders even since last year. So she just kind of has that persona, where she's a leader and, kind of goes out there and she's like a third coach. So I expected what I expected from her last year, this year, and even more now. So I don't have any questions about her, but, Kama was kind of a different, kind of quieter, but this year, I mean, like I said, that year leap, and I think any coach can attest to that, from freshman to sophomore year is a huge leap for athlete, as far as growth, strength, and all that stuff, and how you play your game. And she's definitely stepped up a lot. She's went from, batting sixth or seventh in our lineup, guaranteed, to batting third in our lineup now. So I'm proud of how she progressed, as a young woman and as a young athlete. She's definitely surprised me in a great way in our team and helped us a lot.
When you see people have just like a reflective type of persona that helps them really boost the morales of other teammates, do you feel that between Kama and Maddie, and maybe even other people on your mind, do you feel that their energy is really reflective towards the rest of the team?
Definitely. I mean, they look to both of them as, I need to be like that. They're in the lineup, they're batting here, they're doing this, they're having success, they're coming through in the clutch. So I think any athlete, looks at someone like that that's having success, and they're like, I want to kind of, emulate that in some way, some form of their game. So definitely.
One thing about softball that's really interesting to me is that a lot of teams in particular will pretty much rely on two or three pitchers, just because compared to baseball, softball pitchers can last a tremendous amount of time. I think the art behind pitching in softball is tremendous, to say the least. And going off of what's been going on with the game so far, Jalea and Birdie have really been the two starters for your team. Is that something that's do you have them set in stone as the starters, or is that something that you feel you can switch up as the season progresses?
Well, I mean, they're the only two pitchers on our roster this year.
Okay.
So, I mean, coming in, COVID kind of messed a lot of stuff up and changed people's plans. And some of the students that were on our team, and we had 5 pitchers last year, and now we have 2. So, they all have their own reasons for doing their own thing, which is great. They're still pursuing their academics, which really matters. So, but yeah, Bridie and Julia are our only 2 starters, and they're doing a great job right now. We kind of built them up, and it was different building them up, knowing they're the only 2 through practice. All this practice time we had, we don't want to wear them out and stuff. So, they're doing a great job for us.
How have they taken being the only 2 starters? I gotta imagine. I mean, without the playoffs, I can't really picture there being pressure other than to just play well and win games. That's part of the game. But being the only 2 starters, it seems like that's a really good way to build a close bond and really kind of prove yourself in a really important season, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that, like I said, they're fine. I mean, they know what to expect from each other. They know that, in a pinch, if someone needs to go back in, then that's fine. There's really not a ton of competition between the 2. They're both lefties. They both have different stuff. So, I think that they just go out there and just compete and try to do their best, knowing that they have backup if they really need it. So
A part of the 4-game win streak, you guys just recently beat Sierra last week, and you guys get to play Sierra once again this week. Does the strategy change at all when it comes to playing the same team the following week, or do you want to kind of stick to your guns and kind of go with what helped you guys really win?
well, I mean, the biggest thing with that is, I mean, we're not trying to focus on them. We're just focusing on things that we need to improve on. So obviously we're lucky we play the same team again. So then we get to focus on things that maybe we should have done better last weekend that, they took advantage of. And, that second game we played, we were up 7-0. They shouldn't, it shouldn't have been that close. So things that we need to, kind of tighten up a little bit, but we don't really focus on them. We know what they have, they're going to have more games under their belt. So, they're going to be better than what they were last week. So we expect that. And we just make sure that we're better too. So
Brandon, thank you so much for joining the first Coaches Corner. It's been really fun and really exciting to talk softball, and I can't wait to do this again with you, man. We'll have more to talk about next week, and expect a lot of softball questions. Really appreciate it, Brandon.
no problem.